All right, so I don't even know if it's worth trying to get a cold open out of this, or if we just deal with the cold open, whatever we do the back half of it.
You guys hear about this Booster Gold thing they're making for DC with James Gunn? I think it could be pretty cool.
Yeah, I'm just gonna forget it and just
maybe they could cast Michael Cera as Booster Gold. I don't know. It'd be pretty wacky.
You've been saving this story for a while, huh? You've been waiting on this
I
one.
don't know. Booster Gold sounds like it's a cross between that stupid pink tiger thing from Jingle All the Way and like Pokemon or something. It just
Pink tiger
sounds
thing.
awful.
Oh, because his name was Booster in Jingle All the Way.
Yeah. Yep.
Ooh,
Okay.
Booster fucking sucks.
Yeah.
I hate you, Booster.
Sinbad hated Booster. Fuck that guy.
No, now I just want a deep fake of whoever Booster Gold is into all the Booster scenes from Jingle All the Way.
Because I feel like his suit is actually similar to Turbo Man's suit,
A little bit.
except different colors.
No rocket pack, I don't think, but
If
yeah.
he wanted one, though,
Like
he could.
he has the visor, right?
Mhm. Yeah.
Yeah.
They just cast Arnold Schwarzenegger as Booster Gold.
Hello and welcome to another episode of Bry Guy and Super Friends. I'm your host, Brian Labick. Joining me for some more missions is Andy Stoles
What's up, podcast people?
and Ian Leidick.
I am legally obligated to say, today I'm brought to you by GG Subs. Get your #1 energy supplement today at ggsubs.com/Ian Leidick. And this has been my legally obligated blurb about ggsubs.com/Ian Leidick.
Can you give us the backstory why you're legally obligated to plug that?
I'm sponsored now, so all of my appearances I have to plug that because it's part of my contract.
Every single
Every
one?
appearance.
From here on
Yeah.
out?
Yeah, so, if I happen to record a podcast, let's say earlier today, for instance, I would have said that same thing at the top.
Okay. Yeah.
There's no way to prove I did.
Keep an eye out for that one then. All right, so we are back to continue our never seen that series for Mission Impossible. We're up to Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol from 2011. This is the first Mission Impossible movie to start using subtitles. So it's no longer Mission Impossible 4. It's Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol.
Oh, 4's not even in the title.
4 is not in the title.
So they stopped with numbers entirely at this point.
Yep.
Okay, that's choice.
So again, we've promised to do this about every 2 months, which would get us up to Mission Impossible Dead Reckoning Part 1 in July. So assuming
they used numbers again!
Yeah.
Fuck you!
Part one. They didn't, it's
That's
not
still a number!
All right.
It's still a number!
Fair. I
That comeuppance took like 10 seconds.
called out already. So yeah, we're hoping to fit on schedule to get up to the newest Mission Impossible movie. So we have 2 more after this, leading up to Mission Impossible. What's that? 7 in July, which will be Dead Reckoning Part 1. Yeah, I don't. It's probably easier with the numbers because I start losing track of which one comes where. But
Thank God we record these separately, otherwise we'd be talking about fucking numbers for 2 hours.
all right. So if you're wondering what the Never Seen That stuff is all about, it's pretty much, I think, self-explanatory. But we've always sort of envisioned them as a way to introduce someone to a movie or series that you're surprised they haven't really seen yet, and that we kind of feel like that they should see. So to start us off, we try to record a little bit before watching the movie to see what people know going in, and then we'll break for the movie and then come back afterwards and give our thoughts on what we've watched. As another refresher, all of these movies are brand new to Ian. He has not seen anything in the Mission Impossible franchise other than the first 3 we've watched. Andy has seen, he thinks, up to until this movie, right? You think you saw up to Ghost Protocol?
I think I might have seen this one.
Okay.
I feel like even I was on the podcast when we reviewed this one.
Oh, okay. So if you were there for the review, then you've probably seen this.
I mean, how many reviews have I been on for movies I haven't seen?
That's bullshit because you've definitely seen the ones you've been on.
Maybe it was a cold open discussion, like I had seen it and it was like we just sort of shot the shit about it for like
right.
2 or 3 minutes before the actual podcast started. I don't know, but I feel like I talked about it like this with you
Okay.
before.
All right. Well, that's good. So we're finally getting up to what you remember. So at least for the next two, we'll have
I
some
feel
new
like this is the
experiences
one
for
I
you.
remember the least. So
Okay, well that's good too. That's good too.
yeah. I don't know.
So yeah, at least for Andy's sake, like I said, he's seen up to this one, we think. But for the sake of covering our bases, we've made him go back and watch all of them. So he's been here for this entire journey through all Mission Impossibles again. And I don't know if we ever asked this on one of the previous episodes, but out of the 3 movies we've seen so far in the Mission Impossible franchise, do you have a favorite out of the 3? Ian, I'll start with you. What do you?
Fuck. Shit. I wasn't prepared for someone to ask me if I liked any of the first 3 Mission Impossible movies today on this podcast about the 4th Mission Impossible movie during a series in which I watched 7 Mission Impossible movies. So I would have to say, if I had to pick one, I think it's the second one, because that has the stupidest mask reveals and it has like the dumbest plot, I think, but it's just so woolified.
So you like it because it's dumb. Like it's
because none of these are like smart action films. I would say none of these so far have been like, hey, it's a well-made action movie with a really smart story, like well-crafted, like something. Like I would even say like The Batman, the new one.
Yeah,
that was I'll call a smart action film.
Okay.
This is not. This is popcorn action. So I think popcorn action works best when it's Fast and Furious, and we're not stealing TV VCR combos. We're like saving the world from underground hydrogen bombs by crashing our cars in Abu Dhabi. I think that's when this kind of action movie is at its peak. When there's a naked Arnold Schwarzenegger saying, "Your clothes, give them to me." That kind of stuff.
Okay. I was wondering where you're going with naked Arnold Schwarzenegger reference, but
because it's ridiculous.
Yeah, I got it. Andy, out of the first 3 you watched, do you have a favorite?
I honestly, after watching the first 3, thought the first one was still going to be my favorite, just because that's the one I remember the most.
Yeah.
It has the iconic scenes to it, with him hanging above the computer, the pressure sensitive security system and everything like that. But honestly, I really enjoyed the third one. I just think Philip Hoffman did
Philip Seymour Hoffman.
Great job. Whatever the hell it is. I had the 3 names right. They were just in the wrong order.
True.
And I thought it still had its moments where it kind of took me out of it a little bit, but I felt like the first one didn't quite hold up as much as I was hoping it would.
Yeah. Okay.
So I would say currently 3 is my favorite after the rewatches.
Yeah, I think
sorry, Rob.
No, good.
I brought this up during the third one when we did the episode. That it was the first one where they kind of were like, okay, here's our formula. Here's our major players. Like this is what these movies are at this now. So I can definitely I see why Andy's leaning 3. It's a good, solid film. And then 1, literally all I'm remembering from 1 is that scene where he drops down. That I've seen that before, because you can't not see that.
And
Everyone's seen that.
And the finger licking good stuff.
Yeah, of course. And when he hand fucks that girl, and he's like, I've already tasted the goods.
The one thing that's gonna come up on every one of these fucking episodes is already tasted the goods. That's the quote that's gonna live in infamy for all these goddamn movies.
Well, that's why you gotta start naming the series. I tasted the goods.
Oh, it's time to taste the goods, guys.
No one can see Ian just wiggling around in his chair as he's saying this.
We're gonna go see the 7th one, and I'm gonna go up to the concession stand and be like, I want to taste the goods.
And then just start wiggling.
Yeah, I'm gonna start wiggling.
Wiggling like you're doing. Like you're having a seizure or something. I don't know what else going on.
We needed to do a live episode, apparently.
Oh, God. I don't know what that would be anymore, but yeah. I think for me, yeah, Mission Impossible 3 right now out of the first 3 watched is still, I think, my favorite. I think I said this when we talked about it too. I feel like it gets a bad rap, and it seems like it doesn't get the recognition I think that it deserves. And I think, like Andy said, maybe on a rewatch it it piqued a little bit more of people's interest, and I think holds up better than maybe people think. But I do think that from here on out, I think they get better. If I dare to say.
Well, I think that just speaks to your point that when they found the formula and they've just iterated on it better since then, which is why it doesn't get that credit.
Yeah, that's true. I think between 3 and 4, they definitely hit the stride with that. All right, so going into Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol, Andy, what do you know or maybe remember about this movie?
Isn't this the one where he looks like Assassin's Creed and all like the art, the posters and stuff?
Yes, he's got the hood up and stuff. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what you remember.
Andy said that immediately. I was like, "Oh, like Chris Angel." I don't know why. Get in my head up now.
The goth magician guy.
I'm thinking about Tom Cruise posing like Chris Angel, like wearing this fucking hood. Oh my god.
Well, now none of the marketing will ever live up to what you just described to yourself. So
I'm gonna have to pay someone to make this for me.
Commission the art piece of make me a Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol poster, but like make Tom Cruise Chris Angel. Like,
yeah, no, I think that's all I gotta tell them. That's all I want. Make sure he has eyeshadow. That's the key. That's in bold.
Is that the only thing you remember, Andy? Is just him with a hood in the marketing?
No, we started going off a tangent, so I just sort of stopped. But if I recall, Simon Pegg has a much bigger role in this.
Yes,
and I feel like you get to see the behind the scenes stuff, like the stuff that goes into them planning the things out a little better in this, and also things make more sense. Like there were a couple of things that just sort of were meh from 3 that didn't kind of make sense, and I feel like this is if I remember correctly, this is a much more complete, like, I like it when they connect the dots and I'm not left to connect the dots myself.
Okay.
And I feel like they connected more dots in this one, if I recall.
All right. Ian, do you know anything else other than, I guess, sort of what Andy just gave you for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol?
I know for this one, I know I saw the trailer at some point, like while I was like in a movie theater to see a different movie.
Yeah.
Simon Pegg was in the trailer, I think, and that's what I remember.
Okay, good starting point.
Oh, there's a ghost in the movie,
like a literal ghost.
Yeah, I believe this is like a Scooby-Doo-esque film. They try to capture the ghost.
Right when we said they found a formula and they stuck to it, you're just going, yep, they just took it in the right field.
Formula. Yeah. It's been working since the 60s. Or what we call the mid-1900s.
I guess, Ian, we'll swing back to you. Any predictions for Ghost Protocol? What to expect?
Okay, so I know this is technically a later question for Ethan going rogue, but I think when he goes rogue, he says we're enacting Ghost Protocol. Like Ghost Protocol is the term for him going rogue. Like there's a protocol now for going. He goes rogue so often it's now written into the manual that going rogue is called the Ghost Protocol. That's what I'm trying to say.
Not far off from what I remember, so that's a pretty good prediction.
Like I really wanted to say, like, engage Ghost Protocol, and then everyone just like the USA just drops off the uniform because now they've gone rogue.
Just put a piece of duct tape over the logo on their shirt,
and it just says Ghost Protocol in Sharpie.
They shred their one passport and just pull out another one and like, yep, I'm rogue now.
And Simon Pegg has a UN ghost because he's British.
Andy, for the stuff that maybe you don't remember, any predictions for the movie? Or do you think you remember it well enough that you don't want to do any predictions?
I think the only prediction I'm going to have in this one, and I think I'm correct, but I think the handler changes.
You mean like the IMF leader person?
Right.
Yes. I think they pretty much change every movie, almost every movie. Because I think we've got a different one every time so far. Because like we dealt with Kittredge in the first one, and then it was Anthony Hopkins, and then we had Lawrence Fishburne last time, and yes, it is somebody else this time.
Okay. And I think I remember who it is, but I don't want to give it away.
I can't think of the actor's name, but I can definitely picture him.
John C. Reilly.
It is not him. That much I know. Ian, do you expect any drastic changes from previous movies into this one?
When did this one come out?
2011.
Is it in 3D?
I feel like
It
yes.
might
I
have
think
been
it
shown
was
in
in 3D. Yeah.
That's my prediction for major change. Because I was like, that's 2 years after Avatar 3D.
Yeah, because this was big for IMAX screens too. This was one of the movies where they shot specific action sequences in IMAX, so it was trying to
Okay.
capitalize on that craze too. Because there are some action sequences in here that definitely start upping the ante for what these movies do.
So you've rewatched it, I'm assuming, since you saw it.
In the theater,
In
yes,
theaters?
yeah,
Do you think it holds up at home then? If there was these IMAX action sequences?
I think so. Yeah, I mean, it doesn't. It's still always bigger and better in the theater, but it's always nice when you're watching a movie at home that is the widescreen picture, and then you see the bars on the top and bottom of the screen disappear, and suddenly you have a full frame of what an IMAX
Is that
aspect
what they
ratio
say
does.
Engage Ghost Protocol.
No,
after the bars go
that's
up?
I wish it was part,
Right?
but no, it's not. It's not at that part. But yeah, I mean, anytime you get an action sequence in a home video release that fills your entire TV, that's usually when it's like, oh, shit's going down. This looks great. Any drastic changes you expect or remember?
I think it's gonna be a bit more serious, as I feel like all of the other dilemmas have been sort of like, oh, this thing, this thing. It just like never fully like explained, or like I don't think they ever really like impress upon the audience the dire reasonings for the things that they need to do.
Yeah,
It's just like, oh yeah, they have the football or whatever the hell they called it.
yeah.
What did they call it? It was like the
For which
third one?
movie? Third
the
one?
third one.
The Rabbit's
Yeah,
Foot.
they called it. Yeah, that's it. Yeah.
The Rabbit's
And
Foot,
the other-
which is a god killer.
Yeah. The anti-god. The anti-god.
Oh my god, yeah, anti-god.
So yeah, I just
Not
think
anti-Christ.
I feel like the plot and like the dilemma will be hit home a little bit more in this one.
Gotcha. Okay. We will be getting a different director for this one, which we've had a different director for every movie so far. We did Brian De Palma for the first one, John Woo for the second one, J.J. Abrams for Mission Impossible 3. We have Brad Bird for this one, who this is his live-action debut as a director. He was coming off of The Incredibles after this. And I think, I don't think he did Ratatouille, but I think Incredibles was the big one that apparently Tom Cruise saw and was like, yeah, that guy. He can do a Mission Impossible movie. So this was big for Brad Bird.
I'm just curious now, like that translate.
What, like
Like
going from
directing-
Incredibles to
Like an animated movie to a like does that skill set translate?
yeah,
I'm
I
just
guess
curious now because you're not really filming anything, you know.
yeah.
I'm also now curious what a director on an animated film kind of does. There's a lot I'm thinking about now. I'm like, I don't know how movies work.
Well, see if you can hold on to that thought when you're watching the movie and see how
I'm like,
well
I remember
animation
this.
translates. Yeah.
Do they have a woman with just an abnormally large ass?
No, I don't think.
Yeah, you can't do that with real people. It's illegal.
Yeah. I don't know if I still want to ask this question anymore. I think we've had it in the other ones, but I'm going to keep doing it because it's there. But do you think you're going to like this movie? I feel like I should take this question out, but just a prediction beforehand. Andy, do you think you'll like the rewatch for this one?
Yes.
Ian, do you think you'll like your first watch for this one?
As long as there's no turtles in it, yes.
All right, so we're going to prediction time, which is our 5 things we've been trying to predict, which, may be a growing list if we pick any other things we want to try to predict before watching these movies. But so right now we have 5 questions. First one, Andy, how many mask reveals do you think will happen in this movie?
Do you have the list of the ones that I've chosen?
God damn it.
Before?
Why? No, not not at me. No. I wrote them on another piece of paper, which I don't have right now.
I'm going to say 3.
Okay. Ian, how many mask reveals do you expect in this movie? I know you love them so much.
2.
Okay.
I learned my lesson with the last film.
All right. I am gonna. I feel like just to be a little bit different, I should go 4, but 4 feels like too many. Ian, I'm going with you. I'm gonna go 2.
I feel like they realize they can't keep doing it as much.
And I honestly don't remember where the mask gags are in this movie. Like, just trying to replay the movie in my mind, I can't remember where they're at. Although, wait, okay, there's some coming back to me. Ooh, all right, yeah, fuck it. I'm sticking with 2. Sticking with 2.
Said some, not much. There's 10 in there. They all wear masks.
So on the back half of this episode, we're gonna pick up Mike Bradley for the actual like review discussion of it. I talked to him beforehand to get his prediction. So he has predicted 1 mask reveal for this. Second question: does Ethan go rogue? Yes or no? Ian.
It's in the movie title.
Fair.
Yeah.
Andy, yes or no?
Oh, yes.
Okay. I am also going to say yes.
Does he ever?
And-
I feel like I need to go back and see. I feel like he spends more runtime rogue than not.
That's probably true. Mike also predicted yes, so we're all yeses across the board there. Next prediction: does Tom Cruise ride a motorcycle in this movie? Yes or no?
Yeah, and he owns it. Like,
Okay,
he
yes.
actually owned it.
Andy, yes or no?
I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I think I'm actually going to say no as well. And we have a yes from Mike, so 2 yeses, 2 nos.
Did the last one surprise us? The motorcycle, like, feel like it did.
I feel like he did ride.
He
one
rode
when we were,
one,
like-
but like when we weren't like we didn't remember. Well, I clearly didn't remember, so I didn't see it. But I feel like it surprised people.
Yeah,
What
I think it was
happened,
him riding it to like the airport to meet the team, which was like
Yeah.
a 2-second scene, but it was him
Like,
on a
there was
motorcycle.
no need to
so
show it.
It-
There was
Yeah.
we
no
were like,
need.
shit.
because you're always thinking about the motorcycle as like part of an action sequence, not just like, oh, he's driving down the road. Like that's
Yeah.
not exciting.
This
Like,
is a vehicle.
yeah, like it's just getting him from point A to point B. That's it. That's all it's there for. Next prediction: is there a mission-related helicopter? So does Tom Cruise and the team use a helicopter in some capacity? Yes or
They
no?
found a formula. Gotta have a helicopter.
So you're saying yes? Okay.
Oh yeah.
Andy, yes or no?
I think so, but I don't think it's gonna be the lame, slow ass windmill chase scene thing that we got in the last one. So
Okay, so you're saying yes.
yes.
Mike said no. I think I'm gonna go with no for this one. Last one, which is the one that's always some form of contention. How many times will Tom Cruise run? So again, this is he will start and stop running. So if it's one scene and he runs and stops for whatever reason, whether he stops himself, gets punched to the ground, that's a stop, and then if he gets up and runs again, that's 2 instances of him running. Because I think Mission Impossible 3, when we started tallying them up as I was watching the movie, it was a lot more than I had thought. So
Yeah, one of them was like in the 20s or something.
yeah,
crazy.
it was up there. I think 3 had the most running instances that we had tallied so far, like by far.
Yeah, it wasn't close. Like it would be an outlier.
Yeah.
Plotting these points, and I'm gonna continue that tradition and say 25 by
Ooh.
Michael Jordan.
Okay. Ian going 25. Andy, how many instances of Tom Cruise running do you think we'll get? How many times will he start and stop?
I'm gonna say 11.
Okay. I am gonna go. I feel like I want to stick in the teens somewhere, so I'm just gonna make it nice and even at 15.
That's an odd number. That's not even.
Well, you know, in the middle of the tens. We did ask Mike beforehand. He gave us the single digit of 6, so I feel like he's gonna be outpaced here, but we will see if we're.
I don't
right.
think he understands the questions.
Yeah.
I'm gonna say it.
Yeah, so we'll see where we fall after we watch the movie. Anything else we want to throw out there before we get into watching the movie? Any last minute predictions or thoughts? Nothing?
I think he fucks.
Another sex scene for Ethan Hunt in this one?
Ethan cunt.
Okay, no, that's that's
You cut
that's,
that?
that's enough of that. Yeah, that's I'll probably leave it in, but never again. That's all right.
What if Ethan cunt tastes the good?
You just put it all together here. It just keeps getting
Wait,
worse.
that's how I want to do. Does he taste the goods? Yes, I say he does taste the goods.
We're not going to add that to the prediction.
Yes, yes.
No.
Andy, does he taste the goods?
I think he does. I think he tastes the goods.
Brian, does he taste the goods?
No, I don't think that he does. No.
He's the manager at Sam Goody. He's all about it.
Sam Goody. What a pull. Jesus.
Woo.
See, now I can't cut it because it ends with a zinger, so it's got to stay in now. So, all right, time to go watch the movie. So we're gonna go watch Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. Feel free to take a break, pause us, go watch the movie, or if you've listened and done your homework, then you've already watched the movie and you're ready to go. So either way, we're taking a break for the movie. We'll be back to finish it, and we'll see you on the other side with the review and reaction. All right, so we are back after finishing Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. We've also added Mike Bradley to the show. Welcome back.
Thanks.
Hi, Mike.
Did you record any of my predictions, or did you just write those down? Was it?
We put all that. Yeah, I put your guesses in the pre-movie viewing part.
Okay, so this isn't the first time they've heard from me on the show. That's
Yeah, so those are on record. I mean, not your. I haven't heard. I didn't play your voice. I told them what you told me.
Okay, that's what I was
And
asking.
You weren't asked one of the questions because we added it while we were.
Okay,
What
well,
was
hang
the
on.
question?
Ask me
No,
the
I don't
question
know if
now.
I don't remember.
Does Tom Cruise taste the goods?
No, that's not.
Does Tom Cruise taste the goods?
No, that's not an official
Yeah,
question.
yeah.
It's not an official question.
Yes,
No.
it is. We all answered.
Because I was outvoted.
I mean, I'm gonna say
we didn't
yeah.
vote. I just yet kept asking people the answer.
He tastes.
Ian
yeah.
won't take no for an answer.
I say yes.
I said it was so yes that he was the manager at Sam Goody. It was-
Oh dear God. Okay, so before we go any more into the movie, it should be fairly obvious. I'm gonna throw out the spoiler warning for Mission Impossible: Ghost Protocol. So if you've not seen the movie from 2011, do not want spoiled. Pause this now. Come back after watching the movie, or if you've done your homework and you're all caught up, then you're ready to go. But if you'd like to live dangerously and enjoy the spoilers, listen on, and we'll give you at least some of them. Maybe not all, but some. So either way, spoilers to follow.
Spoiler! Spoiler! Something like that.
Okay, all right, so we can talk about whatever we want to now for the movie. I'm going to start with Ian because he's the newest person to this whole thing.
What?
I mean, you haven't seen any. Everybody else is probably at a rewatch point.
It's just,
I think we've.
I don't know. Sorry. That just to me, I was like, what the fuck is he trying to say?
This is what happens when I don't really write stuff down for myself. So, as for the movie, what did you think of the movie? Did it live up to or fall short of your expectations?
I mean, I didn't really have expectations because, again, I don't care about this franchise. Cause it's why I haven't seen it, And then we've been over this. The only scene I've ever really remembered from these, even after seeing trailers for all these, happened in the first movie.
Yep.
And I just knew that after Simon Pegg shows up once, he never stops showing up.
Accurate.
I think, truly, at the end of the day, it was another action movie starring Tom Cruise.
I mean, better or worse than any of the other ones that you've watched so far? Where does it sort of... I guess we could end with sort of where it ranks for you, but... And I think I kind of asked that before going into this, which one you liked so far, and I think your top one so far was number 2.
Woo, woo,
Yeah.
woo. I think
You know it.
discussed that the last movie, the third one, is where they assembled a template, and this is the one where they're iterating on said template.
Yeah.
So I think from a purely that perspective, it's improved from the previous one. I still think the second one might be the most unique take on it due to the involvement of said director. But this is the one where it feels like this is what the franchise is.
Okay.
Now, this is what I'm expecting from all of these, is Tom Cruise telling someone, I'm climbing up a fucking building, and then they wrote a movie around
Yeah, what
that.
can he do to possibly kill himself?
And also somewhere, really expensive, that really is desperate for tourism, and has some type of political thing going on, where they don't want you to talk about what that bad thing that happens there is. I'm sure nothing bad has ever happened, though, in Abu Dhabi. That's where this took place.
Yeah, I get
Tower.
yeah. Andy, you think this was a rewatch for you, right? You were still kind of unsure
Yes, because
what you remember, what you don't remember.
I recall like the Carvana scene.
Oh,
And,
yeah.
and I recall bits of the skyscraper scene.
So this was mostly a new movie for you.
A lot of it was pretty new. Yeah, like I didn't recall most of it.
So like all the plot stuff
Yeah.
was new.
So what did you think for like, was it in that much more enjoyable, sort of not remembering most of it?
Yeah, I thought it was really cool to sort of like see it again and relive it for the first time because I didn't remember a whole lot of it. So
Nice. Mike, what did you think for the rewatch? This is a rewatch for you, right?
Oh yeah, I've watched this one a bunch.
Okay. All right, just making sure.
Yeah, I mean, this is my personal favorite of the Mission Impossible movies, which is why I specifically requested to be on this episode when we started talking about all these things. It's my second favorite Tom Cruise action movie. Edge of Tomorrow is still number one for me.
It's a good
great
pull.
movie.
Yeah. But yeah, it was fun to watch again. I definitely I went way under on how many times Tom Cruise is going to sprint. We'll talk about that. I feel like I was watching one scene and you said if he stops and starts running again, that counts. And I'm like, I feel like I lost it on this scene alone.
Yeah, I have a tally. I don't know if I'm right, but I have a number that I tallied.
It got to be
during.
double mine, I think.
Yeah, we'll see where we end up when we get there.
But yeah, in general, like it was fun, as always, to watch. It's one of those movies that if you watch it once a year, it stays kind of fresh and it's still fun.
Yeah.
And it not only is it my favorite Mission Impossible, it's got my favorite scene from any Mission Impossible movie, and that's when they're infiltrating the Kremlin. I love that whole sequence and everything that goes on there. I just think that's a really fun thing. The whole like climbing the Burj Khalifa is ridiculous. But awesome at the same time. It just was a little too over the top for me. And yeah. I don't know what else I'd say about it.
Okay. Yeah, this one's up there for me. I don't know. I think there's part of me that really likes, like, I have such a soft spot for Mission Impossible 3 that I still think 3 might sit above this one for me. But I think the action is a lot better in this one than 3. And even just the way the action is directed, I think is a lot better. Like that whole scaling the building section of the movie, like some of the shots in that are fan-fucking-tastic. And I guess we can spin this into, because I was going to ask you guys what you think about the director change, but this is Brad Bird's first live-action movie. He was coming off of, I think, The Incredibles for Pixar. I don't know if he did anything between Incredibles and this, but he was basically dealing in animation before doing live action for this movie. And the shot that always sticks with me is the one when Tom Cruise finally just swings out the window that they've opened up so he can start climbing up the building, where the camera is over top of him and just swings out with him. I remember being in the theater and seeing that in IMAX, and that was like mind-blowing to me, the way they shot that. I was just like that's where your stomach drops, when the camera goes out the window with Tom Cruise and you're just looking straight down. That was, yeah, I love it. Andy, what did you think of the you can talk about any other shots that stuck out to you, but the director change between Brian De Palma, John Woo, J.J. Abrams, and now we got Brad Bird.
Well, I would like to say that being that this was his first live action like movie, I believe. Everything else was animation before. He did a fantastic job at setting up the shots. I thought the whole sandstorm was a beautiful shot, like seeing it coming in, and then even the chase scene through it was awesome. Just how he set that whole thing up. Even the the Indian Palace I thought was pretty good. How he set that whole thing up. Where Paula Patton goes.
Oh, when she's trying to seduce the rich guy.
Seduce the rich guy.
Yeah.
And everyone's constantly in each other's sight.
Yeah.
Yeah, that to your credit, yes, that is a very well directed scene, because I don't feel like you ever lose track of like where people are. Like you understand the setting like, and where everyone is in relation to each other and stuff like that. That's sometimes very difficult to do.
Yeah, and there's a lot going on because it's like a billionaire's like playhouse or whatever, you know. There's like a shit ton of stuff going on, and he does a good job of like keeping you very focused on the ones you need to be focused on, instead of having all those like unneeded panning shots of the whole party where you're like, well, wait, where are they again?
Oh yeah. Mike, what'd you think of the direction?
Andy had mentioned the sandstorm and the chase scene there. There's a shot at the beginning of that I think is my personal favorite in the movie. And it's one of those things where like we love those continuous shots when we're getting fight scenes, but in this one we got it in a chase scene because they panned up. Had to be several hundred feet in the air when they're chasing each other under a bridge, and they pan across the bridge and they come out the other side continuing to run.
Mm-hmm.
And that was one of those things because the whole time you're seeing the shadow of the sandstorm move in over the bridge, and it's so awesome to see them. They had to have used like a drone or a helicopter, something. I have no idea how they get that shot that smooth. But it was awesome. And there was a lot of things I think that they did very well. The prison scene at the start, breaking Ethan out of prison. Fucking love that. It's funny. It's good action. It's just that whole scene, and then paying it off later, I guess, isn't part of the director, but that's more the story. But still, just the way that scene was directed and like orchestrated, if you will, for when the prisoners get released, and he tells them like, "Oh shit, they're gonna catch me. Just release everybody," and he just keeps running past the people being released to attack the guards.
Yeah.
I thought that was a really fun sequence as well to set up, and probably took a lot of shots to get just right.
Oh, probably. Yeah. Ian, does this dethrone John Woo for you, or that's still your top director?
I think they did some cool stuff with this one. Both of the scenes Andy and Mike mentioned with the palace in India and the prison involved a lot of characters interacting with each other, but not being in the same shot, which isn't always easy to do, and it's something takes a really good storyboard, which is I think where the animation background directing comes in hand.
Yeah, that's fair.
Because that's a lot of what that directing in animation is storyboarding and then getting that to then work together. So I'm assuming that, that's where a lot of this work went in to try and, generate the story in the story of the scenes itself, which I think they did a really good job with. But again, at the end of the day, they still haven't done anything in these movies where I'm like, oh, they don't do this in Hollywood anywhere else, There's none of those like, oh, fuck, I can't believe there's nothing that captures you like Ex Machina captured me. Like, no one tells that, like, AI story in like, the weird Facebook thing. It's a really cool tale. I watched the movie Parasite about, Korea, and it's this family infiltrating another family. Like, they're becoming parasites of another family. And that story was really unique to me, about this poor family. And then you have even stuff like The Matrix has a lot of really cool shit. Everything, Everywhere, All at Once has a lot of stuff inspired by a lot of things. But what does it do unique? Googly eyes. This movie has nothing, though, where I'm like, it's that thing. At best, it has Tom Cruise running, but he does that in every fucking movie he's in because he thinks he's a really good runner. Not that he's a good runner, that he looks good running. And they still don't have a thing in this that's like, oh, that's our thing, except maybe the mask gag. But it's not a good thing that you want to make your own because it's a fairly poor gimmick. Especially in this film where I don't think they did it, or they did it once. I don't know.
One time. I think we counted one.
Yeah, there was one, and it didn't matter, or I don't remember why it was.
I mean, if you're talking mask gag, technically they did too, because the mask machine breaking, I'd call a gag.
Well,
it's not the gimmick, but it's
okay.
We
mean the bit, not the gag.
I guess I always tallied it up to every time a mask is used in on someone's face.
Well, no, they did it with Tom Cruise too, when they infiltrate the.
No, they talk about that not being a mask.
Yeah, it wasn't a mask. It was just
really?
Like
a fake mustache.
Mustache and a hairpiece.
That's right. Yeah. And the nose.
And as we all know, the best mask bit is the movie The Mask. So it's like, that's not even their thing.
Yeah, when the dog puts on the mask, it's just so perfect.
or the baby from Mask 2, Son of Mask.
Oh,
I've
God,
totally
let's
No
seen
one ever-
that.
No one saw that movie.
Let's try to forget that one.
Neither did I. I just know that happens in the movie.
I'm starting to wonder, Ian, like if you're so unimpressed with what's happened so far, if either of the other two movies that are coming out or that we're gonna watch are gonna do anything for you, because I feel like the climbing outside the building stunt was such a mind blowing thing for me when they did it that it's like I can't believe they actually fucking put Tom Cruise outside the building and let him walk around out there for days.
But
I mean,
since
he had-
then, I've seen a car get jumped from one building into another building, and I've seen
Several
like
times.
a Toyota Pinto get shot into space by Ludacris.
Neither one of those were things that actually happened. Like that's all CG effects. That's not.
Well, you can't. Elon Musk got a car into space, so Ludacris could have too. You can't prove to me that didn't actually get into space.
See,
I mean, like I think Mad Max had some really cool shit, like the newer one, Fury
yeah,
Road.
and a lot of that was probably
Like, you have
practical.
the-
I'll give you that.
Yeah, and you have like the cool ass guitar man playing guitar, and he's blind, and fire shooting at him everywhere. Do they have that in Mission Impossible? No, they don't. They have Tom Cruise climbing a vertical building, which Spider-Man does every film.
All right,
And-
It's not
I
impressive.
to be
really
fair,
want to see
that-
what
that
happens in the
shot-
next couple movies.
These stunts he does still are CG'd quite a bit because of all the harnesses and straps that are holding him in place.
They're helped with some of that stuff, yes, but the fact remains he was still at least 40 floors up climbing outside that building for hours.
But
Right,
again,
but
you
I'm
only
just
are
saying-
saying it's impressive because Tom Cruise did it instead of a stuntman.
Even
That's
if
the
it was a
only
stunt,
difference
it-
between him and someone else.
it
though.
gets-
It's not like action movies don't take these risks. Jackie Chan broke every bone in his body filming stuff, but you don't invite me onto your podcast to suck off Jackie Chan.
and I admire the Jackie Chan stuff too. I think if a stuntman did it too, I don't know if we'd be talking about it as much because it's not, the billable star that's, all over the posters and all that crap. But I think it still remains that that's something that's really cool that I've never, at least maybe I'm just watching different shit that I haven't really seen in a movie before.
I think stunts like that usually are mostly CG. I don't think you're actually going to see people most of the time bother taking the risk when you're going to CG it anyways. It's just Tom Cruise's madness that makes him want to do this shit without CGing it. If you're going to say, oh, we're going to film, 200 stories up or whatever the fuck he was supposed to be in this movie, it was 119 was the floors they were on, right?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're talking 118, 119 floors up, nobody's actually going to film there in any other movie. Nobody's actually going to do it. They're going to film in a studio with a green screen on maybe 2 or 3 stories of glass, building that they made look like it's there and make everything else in CG and make it look that way. A
But to be
stuntman
fair,
still
he-
might do it, but
Because I think at least the way I've seen from the special features and stuff, they test it with a stuntman. They have a stuntman check it to make sure the rigs and everything are going to work, and then they throw Tom Cruise out there to do it. But the climbing the building, I think he was only like 35 floors up, and they CG'd it to make it look 100 some floors up. But either way, the idea was if you fall from 35 feet or 35 stories up, you're going to die regardless if it's 35 or 100, whatever. It doesn't matter.
at least 111 you have a
I
chance
think
of
part of
getting
it too-
blown higher and
Maybe.
just floating for a while.
It's just without the behind the scenes stuff, it doesn't. It's not impressive like just watching it. You know what I mean? Unless you're like, oh man, they really did all this. It's not like a visually impressive feat. Just what they did.
And I think that's what-
just purely looking at.
That's
it.
why I think a lot of them.
There's no spectacle.
That's why a lot of the marketing, I think, for these movies isn't, hey, let's show you a trailer. It's, hey, let's show you the behind the scenes of what Tom Cruise did to set up this one shot and all the work that goes into it. They did that for, even before this movie came out, all the talk was around the climbing the building. I'm trying to think. Rogue Nation was about him hanging outside aircraft carrier taking off. And then Fallout was him learning to fly a helicopter and do a bunch of shit, actually flying a helicopter.
He meant a
And
cargo
then
plane,
everything
not an
we've-
aircraft carrier, by the way.
That's what I meant. Yeah.
I saw Ian's
Cargo
face
plane.
contort like,
Yeah, my bad. Yes, you're correct.
Well, I just didn't know what was cool about him being on an aircraft
Yeah.
carrier.
No,
The way you said, I'm like, so
Wrong-
he hung out on an aircraft carrier
wrong terminology.
there's a cargo plane taking off, and he's hanging on to the outside of it. It's a real plane, and he's really strapped to it while it takes off. It's a
And I think, the new one that's supposed to come out, all the PR stuff is around this jump with the motorcycle that he's supposed to do off a cliff somewhere. Like, that's all over the
Mhm.
place. So,
And I've already seen it.
yeah, I mean, if it spoils
I
that,
already know what that's going to look
it
like.
spoils that stunt, but I think there's other stuff in these movies that they put in there that it's still,
And-
I don't know.
I saw him do it twice.
All right, so you're very unimpressed and uneasily amused. That's fine.
It's just, there's cooler things to me. And these aren't.
he's
that
Johnny
cool.
Blaze. He's just trying to see if he can die. That's all.
I think we're going to come out the other end of this and just be very disappointed that Ian didn't really, well, at least I am going to be very disappointed that Ian didn't really care for any of the 6 movies we just had him watch.
They could try hard. I mean, I guess they can't because they already happened, but.
yeah, well, we'll see what happens with 7s. They're still making 7 and 8. Ian, I'll stick with you. What did you think of the addition of Jeremy Renner? Because I'm pretty sure at this point he was meant to try to take over the franchise, but Tom Cruise just wouldn't surrender it, so...
Like, in the sense that, like, they're like, Tom's too busy to do these?
From what I
or-
understand, the studio wanted Tom out. And they were going to try to...
Oh.
This was the passing of the torch movie to Jeremy Renner, which is right around the same time he was trying to get the Bourne movies. Neither of these worked out. He just couldn't get the franchises for himself.
I mean, he did more in this film than he did in the entire MCU.
I was almost going to say yes, but he got his own show. So I think time-wise, he might have actually had more screen time in the MCU than...
Well, I just meant, like, being helpful or doing something people
God,
cared
Hawkeye
about.
hater.
He's completely irrelevant to all of those films. Even Endgame. Like, he didn't need to be in
Whoa,
Avengers.
he was a
Could have cut all
he
this
was
We're
a
not gonna
dad
start fighting about
figure
those Avengers.
for Wanda when she was still Wanda, and he stopped
The
her
only thing that
temporarily
he did relevant
from.
was shooting Ant-Man off his arrow.
That was
That's
pretty
it.
cool too.
That was, other than that, you could have just had the Hulk throw Ant-Man probably off a spear or something. It'd have been, like, sicker. But, everything was cool too.
All right, that doesn't matter. Still, it's enough for me. It's enough for me.
I mean, it could have been Jeremy Irons in this. That would have been better. But,
I mean,
good for Jeremy Renner getting work.
take that. Jeremy Irons is always a good get.
Yeah, I mean, I wouldn't complain.
Andy, what'd you think of Renner in this one?
I liked him in this one. I like how his story sort of unfolded, like his character unfolded. You thought he was just sort of like an analyst, and then he starts pulling the moves on Tom Cruise, and you can tell Tom Cruise like notices he's pulling moves. And
Yeah.
but there's so much shit going on. He's like, I'm gonna address this later. Right now, we got to kick some ass. So it just I enjoyed that, and I like how he sort of just like seamlessly went into like sort of just got into a good groove with them.
Yeah.
Just sort of like
Became
joined
part of the team.
and it was like seamless. Yeah,
Mike, what'd you think of Renner?
He was there. He did his thing. I usually find Jeremy Renner to be mostly charismatic and enjoyable to watch in most of the stuff he's in. I don't really have anything like great praises or bad things. He was just kind of there. You know what I mean? I feel
Yeah.
like this was at a time when he wasn't fully, I guess, come into his own as a lead actor. He was starting to get there, but he hadn't taken like leaps and bounds towards it yet.
Yeah. I
Like-
think is this after Hurt Locker? Because Hurt Locker is what he was getting recognition for, right?
Yeah, but that was a very different role though.
Oh yeah, for sure. But you're saying like before he was almost like a name, and I think he probably started to become a name, right, with Hurt Locker.
I would assume so, but I was thinking more along the lines of like blockbuster kind of thing. Like Hurt Locker was an awards kind of thing, but I don't think it was like a big hit. If you like, it was a
Yeah.
hit like with reviews and stuff like that, but I don't think it was like, I don't know, could have been.
Yeah, I guess I'm looking. Hurt Locker was 2008, and then he was in a couple other things that I wasn't really familiar with. He was in The Town in 2010,
Yeah, he was good in
Thor
the town.
2011, and then Ghost Protocol 2011.
Okay.
And then he went to the Bourne Legacy in 2012 and then couldn't keep that franchise either. So he was all over the place.
He was all right. Like, I wasn't blown away or put off. Like, it was just kind of neutral for me with him in this one.
Yeah, I think he was a good addition to the team. I liked having him around. I just kind of feel bad for him that, like, not that, like, I'm mad that Tom Cruise stuck around, because I think the movies we get after this are both really good. And I don't know what they would have been like if like Renner was the lead and sort of took over and wasn't Tom Cruise, because I don't think Renner would put himself in the situations that Tom Cruise wants to put himself in. But yeah, I mean, I don't know. Like I said, I feel bad for the guy. He tried to take over a couple franchises. None of them landed. Luckily, I guess he got a Marvel role to give him something to do for a while. Not like he's going to hurt for work, but...
You know, how sad is it this guy only makes a couple million a film, but he couldn't get his own action blockbuster summer franchise?
It's fine. I felt bad for him. That's just me.
And then he got a TV show out of his Marvel deal.
Yeah.
Couldn't even get you couldn't even get a broadcast deal. It had to be a fucking like streaming show. Like, that's so
I mean,
cliche.
to be fair, he did nearly just die, just like not long ago, so it's okay to feel bad for him. I mean, he nearly died in a really dumb way, but he nearly died.
Yeah.
He cut off his own dick.
No, he got trapped under like an ATV snowplow thing because he was trying to clear a road so somebody could get somewhere or some shit. It was something weird, like.
And you said he wouldn't do the stuff Tom Cruise did.
Point taken.
No, he'd be dead. That's the point. Is he's accident prone, so he'd.
So you check your can.
And I can't remember if we were talking on the pre-show or for something we just talked about at some other point before watching the movie, but you were asking if like Ethan's wife just goes away in this one, if we just are never going to hear about it again. So we have some resolution to that. Are you satisfied with that, or did you want more?
Okay, no. Well, no, not I don't want more. It's just don't write the story so he's married. That we solved that problem. Or two, like, it does not matter if she's dead or not. Does literally nothing to any of the plot line for these two films, whether she's dead or alive. Only Jeremy Renner knows she's alive other than Tom. And who cares if he knows? He's fucking dead. He's probably not even in the next film. I don't care. And I don't know why it's important. Like, if it's so key to Ethan Hunt that his wife be protected and safe, he should not be within gazing distance of her. After a mission, especially, you know? Like, if she's dead, you don't, like, hang out near her, you know? You don't just, like, chill out and, like, oh, shit, I can't believe it. Like, that's how the CIA catches people all the time, is they make little mistakes that aren't even as big as, hey, I'm staring at my dead wife. Who has a job, I guess, in a fulfilling, like, role outside of work or whatever she does now. Because she's hanging out with that guy, like, going around places. Like, that large guy in Scrubs, I do not think is IMF trained.
No, probably not.
I don't think he's there to defend her. I don't think he even knows what the IMF was, because it doesn't exist anymore. So no one's keeping her safe except Ethan Hunt, who's doing it by seeing her every 6 months at a 250-yard distance.
He's got a restraining order.
You know, I thought it was unnecessary. I guess at the end of the day, it's just why.
Well, you wanted an answer. The movie gave it to you. Now you hate the answer.
Yeah, honestly, yeah, it's their fault. They could have just not. They could have just not brought it up. Never mentioned he was married. Wouldn't have cared. Wouldn't have changed a thing, except for 25 seconds at the end of the film. Like, Jeremy Renner doesn't change something about the character he's portraying when he acknowledges he's the reason Tom's wife's dead. He doesn't change anything. There's no character growth there from him telling the rest of the crew that. There's no then character growth, really, because the movie just ends when Tom's like, nah, dude, you had all this guilt because you thought you killed my wife, but she's alive. Ha ha, it's funny that you thought you killed my wife, and that's why you, like, retired from being an agent and stuff. Ha 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 ha, you were depressed over my dead wife who's alive.
So, you know, Andy, how do you feel about the whole Julia thing?
I enjoyed it because that's one of the questions I had. You know,
Yeah,
from
She has a
the-
name?
she does have a name.
she was such an integral role in the last one. You know,
Yeah.
a lot of things happened with Philip Seymour Hoffman and her. You know, like you had her in that one very intense scene. You know, where Tom and her are like facing each other and they're strapped together, or strapped apart from each other, but strapped onto chairs.
Well, it wasn't her. Remember? That was the whole
well,
gag.
no, yeah, but I thought just the quick little 3-minute snippet was pretty good for me to just. I don't know. There had to have been a ton of planning going into that whole mission because they almost had to set it up from the start to get Jeremy Renner on that team.
Maybe. I mean, that might have been why the secretary guy, the IMF secretary, had him in the car, knowing they were going to pick up Ethan Hunt.
I feel like they wanted Renner to take this mission, so they sort of flung him into it, and like it's almost like Tom Cruise knew he was going to be in this mission too.
See, I don't think Tom knew. Like he said, the only person that knew that Julia was still alive was the secretary. Secretary is the one that put Ethan and Jeremy Renner's character, what the hell's his name, Brant, together. So I could see the secretary being in on it, like, hey, these guys need to get together and like hash out their shit. But I don't think Ethan knew. My take, anyway. Mike, what do you think of the whole Julia thing? Like it, hate it?
Indifferent.
It doesn't affect anything.
Yeah, I mean,
Okay.
I would just say indifferent. There's not much else to say there. Like, I didn't rewatch 3 before this, so if there's any significance from that one that carries over, I don't recall it from the last time I watched it.
Yeah.
And she doesn't really play a part in the plot here.
Yeah, I think I agree she has nothing to do with the story. However, from an audience member that somehow, say what you will, I'm attached to these characters at this point, and the fact that you gave Ethan a wife in the movie before, and if you don't acknowledge it in the movie after, when we've seen nothing, like if we had seen her die in Mission Impossible 3, then I would understand, yeah, she's not in the next one, but she lives, and as far as you know, they lived happily ever after 3. So why is he by himself in 4 doing the spy
He's
stuff
in prison.
again? Exactly, but you need the connective tissue of why you get from happy ending in 3 to where they're at in 4. As an audience member, I need that connective tissue. They gave that to me at the end that wrapped all
So
that
you were-
stuff up and tied it up. And
So you needed it, but you were okay waiting 60 minutes to get
I didn't think they were going to
Like,
give.
it wasn't
I
that important.
honestly did not think they were going to go that far to give that to me, to actually
couldn't
see
they
her
have just
in the movie.
had him like I feel like you would have been satisfied if when he was in prison, instead of throwing the rock, he was fidgeting with a wedding ring just to acknowledge he was married at some point. You'd be like, he is
If they
married.
weren't going to show her, yes.
And that was
Yeah,
it.
if that-
you would have been like,
So
that's
if
fine.
that was all
And
we got-
I just saved us 10 minutes of runtime.
So if the story that Brant tells was actually true, would that have been okay?
Where
with
she?
you?
Are you talking to me or
You.
Ian?
You.
If that was the way they were going to tell it, yeah, I wouldn't be happy with that because I would have liked Ethan to have some sort semblance of happiness. But no, if that was the story they were going to tell, that's enough for me.
I mean, that's kind of the idea of
At
being a
least-
spy, though. You have to give all that up if you're going to be this super spy that he's going to be. You don't get that other
Right.
shit.
And I thought if they were going to go dark enough that yes, they would kill her off screen, and then you just hear about it later, like fine. But the fact that they turned it around at the end, see, to me, watching the movie the first time, if I'm going back to the first time I saw it, that's the twist for me that I'd like with the movie. No, she's not
It's not a
dead.
twist.
Up until that
That's
point,
just them lying to you. That's
up
just
until
not a
that
twist.
point, you're under the assumption she is dead until Ethan confesses to Brant that no, she's not. It was all a cover. And look, there's my wife. Like, for me, all that stuff worked. I loved all of it.
A twist is, oh shit, it's the butler, not, we've been lying to you about who killed that person the whole time. You know?
It's still it was misdirection then, I guess, for me. Either way, it worked. I'm on board with it. I feel like we could just.
If she doesn't die by the end of this series, there was no point in him getting married. I'll say that.
So your prediction now is that she dies, or
No, well, I'm not predict. I'm saying if she doesn't get killed due to Tom Cruise, like, letting her live, I guess, or acknowledging she's around, if that's not used against him in a future film, either her being killed or kidnapped, then there's no reason for him to be still married to her.
I don't think he is
As of this
still
movie.
married, right? I think they're just basically separated, and she's under like
I mean,
almost like not
I'm
witness
not saying,
protection, but like
but for him, he's like, in their mind, he's married. If she was fucking that dude, he wouldn't have been smiling like that.
Maybe he likes to watch.
I tell you right now. Well, apparently, because that's what he's doing. He's 250 yards away, or Jeremy fucking Renner. Like, dude, my wife's alive. You killed her, but no, she's alive. And then I murdered 6 Serbs? Did he even murder those guys? That's what I want to know.
yeah, yes, he did, because that was why he
Well,
went to
because
prison.
those guys didn't kill his wife. So those people even
it's
exist.
half true. It's half true. The she
Like, right?
no, she got kidnapped. He explains this to Jeremy Renner. She got kidnapped. Ethan rescued her, killed the guys, but she wasn't dead at that point. That was when she went into hiding. He got arrested.
So then
and went
he
to
on
prison.
the spot decided, okay, now we're going to pretend you're dead.
Something like that, sure. Yeah, I don't know how the logistics
And then
of
he
it.
called the secretary of the IMF, was like, boss man, I need a favor. My girlfriend wife was kidnapped. Now I need to pretend she's dead. Do something, but no one else can ever know. And also, if you don't do this, I'm never accepting another mission ever
Quite
again.
honestly, yes, I could see that's exactly how it happened, and that's fine for me.
And
I'm
then-
fine with that.
And then he pulls off a mask, and it was actually Pierce Bronson the whole time.
What? Now you lost me.
Should have a mask.
I was
gag.
with it up until then. Now you just lost me.
And then Pierce Bronson relayed the story to him while they were like meeting over like a super spy thing. He's in this version of it. Pierce Bronson's still Bond.
I got that much. Yeah. All right, I'm moving on. I feel like we could just go back and forth on this all day. So we're gonna get to some of our repeatable questions, but before we get to our little tallies and stuff, Andy, what'd you think of the cold open? Which is everything we get before the titles, which is Josh Holloway getting killed, and then the whole prison break sequence.
I actually really enjoyed the Sawyer opening. I thought that was really cool. I especially liked it after they expanded on it, like later on when Paula Patton tells the story of like how that actually the whole thing went down, which is really cool. And the prison break thing is like you begin with like all these questions. I will say though that was a really, really abnormally long fuse.
Oh, when the credits actually start going, yeah.
Yeah.
Mike, we already know the prison break is one of your favorite sequences. So, what'd you think of the cold open stuff?
Every time I see this cold open, if I wait long enough, I forget that Leah Sedu's in the movie, and it reminds me, and I'm like, oh yeah, that's right. Okay, I'm watching this again. I mean, other than what I've
Ian?
already said,
Yeah, Ian, what'd you think?
I mean, that's fun. I guess it's technically not part of that scene, but I did like the whole, "Oi, we blimey, mate! I got my field agent's degree, don't you know?" You know, Simon Pegg.
Oh. It's like, who are you?
That
talking
sounded just like him, right? I nailed the Welsh accent. I nailed all of the speakings you would use if you were Welsh.
we just found out that to Ian, every English person is cockneyed, so that's good.
I thought I was doing a very poor Canadian accent.
I was gonna say that.
I'll take a bad Cockney.
The don't you know? I was like, that's definitely Canadian. Or
That's
very,
Minnesota. That was
very-
my Minnesota fleet
I was
name.
gonna say very northern U.S.
I think I just mind fucked like 5 accents.
Yeah, definitely.
It's fun. They were like, hey, let's have a little fun thing where Tom Cruise orders around a smaller man.
Yeah. Yep.
I didn't realize till I was done that was going to be a hike.
Yeah, I like the cold open. I still think cold open for 3 is one of my favorites. I think it just sets the stage pretty high right at the beginning of the movie. But this is fun. I like the
What was that one?
when it just opens with the interrogation with Philip Seymour Hoffman when he's like torturing Tom Cruise trying to get the location of the
I'm thinking of the masked dead whore
the what?
from the
Yeah,
first
that's
one. I
yeah.
think,
Oh, okay,
Right.
yeah.
Yeah, that's
okay.
the first
yeah.
movie.
where she's pretending to be dead, but also I think wearing a mask.
Yeah, I don't know how. Yeah, I don't remember all that stuff. Yes.
It's a whole thing. It happened.
Yeah.
Yes.
Andy, describe to us the villain's plan.
Villain's plan.
Because most of them are usually convoluted and forgettable. So,
This
What do you
this
remember?
This one was pretty straightforward. He just wanted to nuke. He wanted to start a nuclear war.
yes, bare bones. I think that's it. Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, that's the plan.
I don't.
I need to launch a fucking nuke.
Yeah.
That was the. I don't care how I'm doing
It
it.
was like a
spy
lot of,
movie's ever
like-
done that before.
Well, it's like what he needs the briefcase. He needs the codes, and then he got the codes, but then he needs a satellite, and then they couldn't get to the satellite, so then they needed something else. Like it was just all these little other things. You're like, okay, well, sure, maybe he needs all that stuff. Sure.
I don't quite remember his motivation for doing so, but that was like his end game.
Wasn't it like a what do they call it? Not like a fuck. Cut this.
I will not.
Was he a Lien's
I can't remember what
Cossack?
it's called.
No, that's something
Like
else.
not like a genocide, but like a a thing where you kill off all the weak people to improve the base, like Darwinism. You create a cataclysmic event to kill off all of the weak human stock.
Are you talking about
to breach your
eugenics?
Super Ubermensch. Yes, that's what I wanted. It's basically a eugenics plot through nuclear weapons.
Yep, that's
So
pretty good,
basically, Mad Max. Like what Mad Max becomes.
Yeah, it's a prequel. It's a prequel.
Yeah, essentially.
yeah. Mike, where do you think this villain stacks up against the other ones we've seen? Better or worse than? I guess it ends up being Jim Phelps, Sean Ambrose, Owen Davian from the last one.
Now, I guess when you say that, do you mean like as a movie villain or as an actual villain? Like you're saying, like how does he stack up in the universe against the other villains at being a villain? Or are you
More
saying
or
how
less
does
kind of
the
like personal
performance-
preference, I guess. Like which one do you like better, or how they stack up to each other?
I mean, Michael Nyquist is fantastic, but they don't give him much to do here. So, I still kind of have to side towards Philip Seymour Hoffman from what we've already seen.
Yeah.
I would say, they gave him the most to do out of any of the villains, I think, for sure.
Yeah.
And it worked.
That guy in the second one, I feel like, got a lot to do.
Yeah.
It just wasn't interesting.
No.
It wasn't remotely interesting.
Yeah.
So, yeah, at this point, I'd say maybe second, because John Voight in the first one couldn't give a shit. The second one couldn't give
But
a
he
shit at
had
all.
the best line in the franchise!
Did he? I think we got that with Mission Accomplished in this one.
No, I don't think anything's ever going to top.
That was close. What was it? A decade after? 5 years after George Bush said it?
Something like that.
I mean, that's all I was thinking about the whole time it happened. Like, shit, when did George Bush do that on that aircraft carrier?
Ian, what'd you think of the villain compared to the other ones?
Mike's take. Philip Seymour Hoffman just had a lot more to do, so he got to be better purely from that. The second, like I said, the second guy also had a lot to do, but none of it was interesting.
Yeah, I agree.
Didn't really care. But I mean, did you taste the good? I tasted the goods. Like it's an iconic line. I think you go around and anyone's like, "Oh, what's your favorite Mission Impossible line?" I've already tasted the goods. It's got to be, if you're playing fucking Family Feud, it's on the board.
Andy, the villains, what do you think?
While I liked Michael Nyquist's character, he doesn't get a lot to do, so I would have to say that Philip Seymour Hoffman was better. I think he was more intense.
Yeah. Yeah, I think I agree with everything you guys said. It's hard for me to top Owen Davian right now. That's the best one for me. We got a brand new another IMF handler director guy, which is I tried to look in the credits on IMDb. He doesn't even have a name. He was just literally called IMF secretary, which I think was sort of like what Anthony Hopkins had. He wasn't really credited with a name, just secretary or director or whatever they called him. So we get Tom Wilkinson this time. Andy, do you have a favorite? Does he stack somewhere on the list for you, or still one of the other ones?
He's in the movie for a car ride.
Oh yeah, yes.
That's it. It might actually be less than Anthony Hopkins, which I didn't know that was even possible, because he got like 2 room scenes and that was about it.
Yeah.
Very forgettable, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Blinken, you would have missed him.
Mike, what'd you think?
I agree. I wish he was around more though, because I feel like he's way more believable as a government spook than Anthony Hopkins. Anthony Hopkins, there's no question. The guy's great, but he's not a secret agent. He's not a spy. He's just not. This guy, I feel like he plays a similar character in just about everything. Like, that's the kind of person he's always cast as. And it's because he's good at it. It works. So, again, just like Michael Nyqvist, it's a shame we didn't get more.
Yeah. Ian, anything to add for IMF secretary?
Was that what Lawrence Fishburne played?
Yes.
He's the best, and he's the best one, and it's not close.
I agree. Fishburne
also,
is still my favorite.
Yep.
He's also arguably the best actor in the movie franchise to this point. So, I mean, it's,
I'll take all of his sarcastic one-liners all the time. Like, I love everything about him.
It was the rhetorical question. Like, that, great line.
Don't interrupt me when I'm asking rhetorical questions.
Like, yeah. That's up there with I tasted the goods.
Favorite action sequence for everybody in this movie? We might have actually already covered it, but we'll go around the horn one more time. Mike, favorite action sequence?
Prison scene. Opening prison sequence. Yeah.
Ian, what do you think?
Yeah, prison scene.
Okay. Andy?
I actually really enjoy the Carvana scene because it
I think I keep
they're
calling
both
it the Cavrana one. Like...
What is? It's just a gigantic Carvana.
Do you think that's what that actually is? Like, where they filmed that?
I think it was
it's just
probably
some futuristic parking garage.
Oh, you think that's an actual
think
parking
so.
garage? Okay. Yeah. I mean, I'm still hoping it's an actual Carvana.
that could be where Carvana got its freaking idea. Yeah, just like they're so beat up and tired at that point, and they both have to do all these ridiculous things to get to the positions that they're in. And the fact that he like drops to the floor knowing that Tom Cruise is disabled, like he disabled his knee, there's no way he's going to be able to get down there in time to stop the launch, and Tom Cruise finds a way. I just think it's so cool.
Nice. I'm actually surprised we sort of all picked different stuff. Or wait, no, Ian, what did you say? What was your favorite? I can't remember now.
Same one
I
as
totally
Mike.
forgot already. Yeah, all right. So then we did pick different stuff. I was like, wait a minute. I think you just said something as everybody else. All right. No, the middle section of the movie, the building in Dubai leading into the sandstorm, all of that stuff is great to me. I fucking love all that stuff. Again, I'm seeing that in IMAX is one of those viewing experiences that I think was really, really cool in the theater. All right, we're going to go through our numbered stuff that we have. So I asked again before we watched the movie, how many masks or mask gags do we think there will be? Ian said 2, Andy said 3, I also said 2, Mike said 1. I think Mike takes this one with 1.
I'll take a win. It's the only one I'm going to get, but I'll take it.
I usually throw in the question, which one was your favorite mask gag, but there was only one, so we can't even really answer that one.
The one that wasn't a mask gag, where they, infiltrate the Kremlin.
Yeah.
That was my favorite mask gag.
Because it was like a gag, but, it wasn't a mask, so
Yeah, they didn't actually wear a mask.
It's a mask gag.
What really sucks is technically that was Michael Nyqvist, but you don't really find out. It's not really him, but it's his character because of the mask,
Right. Next one, does Ethan go rogue? We all said yes, and I think it's a resounding yes. Although I think
Yeah.
there was
He started the movie off going rogue by breaking the other guy out of prison, which wasn't a part of the plan.
so I had this thought, and I don't know if we can. I don't really want to get tied up in a debate, but yes, he goes rogue, but then he gets a basically unofficial mission from the secretary before the secretary is shot. Is that considered back on mission, or is he then rogue
Well,
but
the
somehow
whole
still getting a
agency,
mission?
including Ethan, has gone rogue at that point. So
Right,
he's
'cause they
part
all
of
got-
something that's gone rogue. So
The entire agency got disavowed, so
yeah,
Okay, all right, fine.
He's maybe like a rogue 7-man, 1-man army. One nation.
there is a gray area. I
rogue.
feel like you could argue that he was doing what they wanted him to do anyways, and it was on mission, so hence he was not going rogue.
Right. This
But that's how he always goes rogue, is by doing something that ends up helping the mission.
even then, he still goes to see the fog and goes rogue from the rest of the team. After they like fail in Dubai, and he's like, "All right, well, see ya," and he goes and sees what's his name, the guy who broke out of prison.
yeah, the arms dealer guy. Yeah.
Yeah, so he goes rogue from his own team. Even while going rogue, he goes rogue like another layer deep of going rogue.
Yeah, well, yeah. I guess if I make the argument that he is on mission at that point with his team, even because it's a mission he gets from the secretary, even though they're all technically rogue, I guess, or whatever. That he leaves for that second, but then comes back and gets back on mission with his team to still accomplish the thing that they were set out to do in the first place. So I don't know. It's I could see it argued either side. I think we're gonna go with yes, he's rogue. I think I'm gonna lose that battle if I try to fight it. So we're just gonna go with yes. So here's the point of contention. How many times does Tom Cruise run in this movie? Ian came in with 25. Andy said 11. I said 15. Mike said 6.
I lost by far. I know that.
Oh yeah, first scene he runs, there was more than 6.
Before
I-
the chase scene in Dubai, I was
Yeah.
at 5 in my head counting, and then I watched that and I'm like, ah, fuck it, it's too many. Like
I
there's
think
too many
I
in
tallied.
That scene.
I think I tallied 19. Now, I don't know if it's probably give or take a few here and there, but that's where I was at.
What did Andy say?
Andy
I said
said
11.
11.
And you said 15. Oh, okay, so you
I said
prices
15.
rated it on him. You got the.
Ian had 25, so I think he went a little bit higher. But give or take some, it could go either my way or Ian's way, depending on how you count them, I guess. I'm sure I missed a couple.
It just, you got to be the late teens now, I think, for any future of these films.
They're definitely getting like increment. I think 3 still had the most, though, right? 3, I forget what the number was for 3, but 3 was up there too. 3 might have been in
Well,
the 20s.
3, he was fucking sprinting across like a boating village or whatever to try and find his wife. Remember? It's
Yeah.
like,
Well, he
that's all
ran a
was
whole
doing.
bunch infiltrating the building in the beginning, and then like he ran a bunch in the middle section on the bridge, and then he ran a bunch at the end. Like
He just ran a bunch the whole movie. He was
there's a
just
lot of
running a
running.
bunch.
Yeah.
Like every time you saw him, he was running.
Next question: was there a helicopter used in a mission-related scenario? Ian said yes. Andy said yes. I said no. Mike said no. I do not remember a helicopter.
There was a
I mean,
helicopter.
there's a helicopter.
Well, there was
But
a
it was
helicopter
not mi-
flying
it was-
around. It was
There
not
was not
used.
mission related.
Yeah, it was not mission
Yes.
related. So
Yeah.
So the people
Me
that
and Mike
saw
got
the
that
movie
one.
before got it right.
Does Tom Cruise ride a motorcycle? Ian said yes. Andy said no. I said no. Mike said yes. I also don't remember a motorcycle in this movie.
Nope.
No, I
So I
forgot
think
to pay
Andy and I
attention
got
for
that
one.
one. That's the last of our repeatable questions. You guys got anything?
No, it's not.
no,
There's one
no,
more.
not no.
We took notes.
Anything else?
Does Tom Cruise taste the goods?
I'd
he
argue
gets
yes.
a kiss, right? So does that count? Like he
He
kisses?
takes a
Yeah,
taste.
because remember, this is the same film franchise where he fucks someone by holding their hand really erotically in the first film. And it's the person he's then asked, did you taste the goods, you know? Like, so yes, that counts as him tasting the goods.
Okay, we're gonna call that a yes.
And if I remember correctly, we all said yes.
I can't remember what I said. I think I blacked out during that.
I remember everyone else was laughing really hard and you weren't happy about having to answer.
I think I definitely remember that, and I don't remember what I answered. I just wanted to move on at that point. Anything else stand out about the movie to anyone that you guys want to mention? Anything else?
I love that this movie sees them actually failing to do most of the things that they're trying to do in this movie. This is the first movie where I actually felt like the mission could quite possibly be impossible.
Okay, nice.
I actually got that feeling because everything they tried failed, and then they just sort of threw shit at a wall, and eventually it worked. Just pure guts got it to work, you know?
Yeah.
For me,
You got it, Mike.
Ving Rhames coming back for just like 2 seconds at the end, it was like, well, if he's gonna be in the movie, you could have wrote him into other stuff. Like, he's a cool dude. It would have been fun to have him around for more of this movie. Like, if he didn't want to do it at all, cool, shit happens. You can't get the actor. But if he's gonna be there, come on, let's.
But he was only on set for like 4 hours.
Still,
Probably.
I guess the only confusing part with that is IMF doesn't exist, so why is he working? Because he talks about like having to search the water where the nuclear missile hit
well, he probably got a job with
But
the
he was
CIA
an
or
IM
something.
in like 2 days.
I assume somehow word got out that they saved the day, so the IMF somehow just gets, reactivated.
I just assumed there was no more IMF going forward.
Oh, no, yeah, the IMF definitely comes back.
Well, no, it's the EMF.
I mean, they get new
now.
missions
It's
at the end,
Ethan.
so the IMF is
Why
still
now
functioning.
why do you keep spoiling these movies? For
Well,
me?
it's like they get new...
we're in this thing about how I've never seen them, and then every time we come in here, you start spoiling them.
They get new missions at the end of the movie. IMF is still there.
It's the EMF. It's Ethan
Well,
Mission Force.
I don't know who that. I mean, honestly, that's what it's been so far. Or I mean, that could just be the CIA. I don't fucking know.
I don't know. I guess I always assume when you get a mission that self-destructs in 5 seconds, you're getting it from the IMF.
So
That's not where Inspector Gadget got his.
the other thing I would point out, to me, there was always one big problem in the movie. And that is, I don't remember the character's name, but Léa Seydoux' character manages to outsmart and kill someone that's doing the same job as Ethan. So presumably maybe not as good as Ethan, because he's supposed to be the best of the best, but somebody else that is employed by the IMF on an equal place as Ethan, doing the same job. She manages to outsmart and kill that person pretty easily. But when presented with a fight with Paula Patton's character, she completely fumbles it and looks like a scared child and gets her ass kicked quickly and easily. And I always thought that was just kind of like what just happened? Why did she look like so deer in the headlights for somebody that's supposed to be this world-class assassin? It seemed.
But I mean, all she did was walk up to a guy and pull the
But
trigger.
she's supposed to be a world-class
all of
assassin.
All of us could do that.
I'm saying she's supposed to be this really top-end assassin that's taken out like secret government agents from agencies that don't even officially exist kind of assassin. That's it's pretty significant.
Yeah, she wouldn't cut it in the world of assassins. I get it.
Yeah, it's just
The only thing that didn't make sense to me in the movie was when Jeremy Renner had the eye thing and he was looking at the pages. I didn't understand why when he blinked it scrambled the numbers. Wouldn't you want the numbers to be the same so that the guy recognizes the code the correct way?
That's what they ended up doing, but originally it was going to scramble. But then when they found out he had the guy that knew the codes to verify them, they then did it the normal way where it wouldn't scramble.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
Did they mention that?
yeah. It was supposed
Yeah,
to just
they
be
see-
the one guy.
They
I
see
must
the
have
guy
missed
in
that
the
part.
elevator and they go, wait, who's that with him? And then they see it's the guy that's going to authenticate the code. So they realize they can't give him fake ones because he's going to call them on it.
Okay.
Tom Cruise and Jeremy Renner fight about it.
Yeah.
He's like, oh, you can't give him the real codes. He's like, well, I fucking got to. I'm in fucking Saudi Arabia or wherever. What the fuck? I climbed a
That's
building.
exactly the lines from the movie. I don't know how you remember that.
And
The
that
impression
great
is
accent.
impeccable. It's
Yeah, spot on.
That was by John Hamm.
All right, last call. Anything else for the movie? No. All right, around the horn out of 10. What do you give it as a rating, Mike?
9.
Ian?
6.8.
Andy?
What did I give the last couple?
Oh, for God's sakes! I knew someone was going to ask, and I didn't fucking pull
I-
out the goddamn.
I didn't ask because I knew he didn't have it.
I have
I
it.
knew. I was like,
It's there.
this isn't Rewind Theater where there's a guy ready to go with all the scores.
Well, this one has taken it like every save for the second one. Everyone has like taken over the role of my new favorite one. So
I'll get a third of a point more than the previous.
So, Andy, the last one you gave was 7.5.
I'll give this one an 8.5.
8.5. Okay. Mike gave his a 9. Ian, what'd you say for yours again?
6.8.
6.8. I want you to know this is now your highest rated Mission Impossible movie.
Yeah, I know.
Okay. I'm also going to give this a 9. I think this is really up there for me, and I actually really like it. So I guess I it's on par. No, you know what? I'm 8.5. I'm going 8.5 because it's going to be just slightly less than 3. I gave 3 a 9.
So not 8.9.
8.5. 8.5. I'm going 8.5. All right. I guess that's it for Mission Impossible Ghost Protocol. Next up in 2-ish months will be Mission Impossible Rogue Nation. So we are now in subtitle territory where all the other ones after this have subtitles.
If Ethan doesn't go rogue and the one that has rogue in the title, I'm not on any of these episodes again, so I can just say I quit anyways.
Yeah, I guess we have Josh for the next 2.
You got the third one?
Third? What do you mean third one?
Isn't that the new one?
Oh,
Well, yeah,
eventually,
when the new
I
one
guess we
comes
will
out,
get to 7. Yeah,
Well, who knows? Maybe I'll be dead.
that's a happy thought.
I'm your host.
Happy thought. Yeah, if you've enjoyed the episode, please leave some support, leave a 5-star rating and review, give us a share on social media. Be sure to follow or subscribe to the show. You can find us on Spotify, iTunes, Google, Anchor, Stitcher, Amazon. Hopefully, anywhere you're listening to podcasts, you can find us. Search us out on Facebook. Search Bry Guy and his Super Friends, or go to facebook.com/BryGuySuperFriends. You can send us questions, comments, topic suggestions. Let us know your favorite Mission Impossible movie out of the ones we've seen so far. Email me, bryguysuperfriends@gmail.com. It's there. I won't check it. Hit us up on Twitter @BGSuperFriends that I can check. Feel free to follow me on Twitch. It's Jedi Bry Guy, Jedi with an I, Bry with a Y. Whenever we record a live episode, we will do it there. Anytime you want to see me randomly play some video games here and there, it's also done there. And that's it for us. On behalf of Andy, Ian, Mike, and myself, thank you for listening, and we'll talk to you next time.